Hello there, my friends, and welcome to the Glow Up Method. This is the place. This is the space for you to discover a life that makes you proud, to do the things that bring you light, energy, and joy, so that not only you can experience it, but that's the level in which you are going out in the world and emitting your energy at the highest frequency possible, especially on the days that are a little more challenging. Hello there. My name is Natasha, and I am so lucky to be here with you today. Thank you so much for tuning in to me. I know of all the things that you can be doing, all the places you can be, all the things you can listen, that you were choosing to sit here and spend a little of your time with me. And that means the world to me. I'm so grateful for you. I'm so grateful for this opportunity. I'm so grateful to share. I love hearing people's stories, and I, of course, as you know, love to share mine. Today has been for me a super sleepy Sunday. I've been very sluggish this weekend. I really did a lot on Friday. You know, there was a lot to contend with, especially after having complications with my surgery. There was, concerns for my son, which I knew he would be okay, but it just gave me this added sense of, oh, this isn't just an in and out, potentially in and out procedure, that things could go, sideways, or, like there could be complications. But I also had this sense of, even if there is, I know that there is always that we are going to be in the right place, that the favor is always on our side. So I appreciate that kind of terminology that my therapist so kindly reminded me of, because I often, will forget that, yeah, hold on a second. Yes, there are trials. And we were just talking about this the other day. It's not if something happens, it's when something happens. How are we going to react? How are we going to choose to respond, right? Reactions are kind of default settings. They're the things that are built in. But when we sit back and we give ourselves a sense of time and we get to choose our response, doesn't that feel so much better? I mean, there's so many things in a day, say there's a confrontation with somebody, somebody touched something of yours or threw it away or did something, and you're in reactionary mode versus if you respond okay, that, there's two different energies that come with it. And so I think it's very empowering to know we do have a choice. We do not have to succumb to the default settings. And it's really challenging, right? Because that's all we know. Oftentimes, this experience, having a personal journey, has taught me so much, because I've seen the world differently, because I see the world through your eyes now too. I've always had this way of kind of looking at a bigger picture and seeing that there was more. And I'm not God. I am like a goddess right now, but I'm not a God, right? In a sense, I am. I mean, I bring life. I've brought 4 lives into this world. So, my uncle would say, in a sense, you are a God. You are a goddess. You've done something men can't do. You've brought life into this earth. And that's remarkable. And so I never really thought about it in that kind of context. But sometimes, I remember I learned this word omniscient. I don't know, I was probably in 4th grade or something. And it was just this all knowing, right? It was knowing more than you knew. And so, like I said on here many times, for a lot of my life, I lived life thinking people had the same morals, had the same beliefs, had the same, reactions, the same feelings to things. And it wasn't because I was so consumed by myself. It was just all I personally knew. And it just never really dawned on me, in a sense that if you see somebody struggling to cross the street, you go and help them. Where somebody can see them and it not even phase them, because they're doing their, whatever, they're doing their own thing. It doesn't phase them. I can't try to ration the why it doesn't, right? Because there's so many different things that I do that people are why doesn't she do it this? It becomes very evident with Chris, because there's a lot of times I've noticed there's things that we do things very differently, right? It could be something simple like buttering toast. And I'm very sometimes particular when I want my food, and I want certain food in a certain way. And I have a vision in my mind, the way it's going to look and taste. And I'm okay, when that doesn't happen, try to micromanage it instead of being like, hey, it's okay, I'll just take it the way he does it and maybe it's better. It's just a lot of times we like things our way. This is where we feel comfortable. This is where we feel safe. This is we know it will bring us joy, pleasure, and protect us from pain most of the time, whether that be aggravation, physical pain, mental pain, spiritual pain, whatever it is. So many years, like, it just didn't dawn on me. And I don't know why, because I was always trying to make sure everybody else was happy. It just didn't dawn on me that we can see two things and have complete different reactions to it. And that epiphany was actually very helpful for me. The reason why it was helpful was I now had compassion for you. And I was like, oh, I understand. Like, you're not a mean person because you didn't help the elderly woman cross the street who was struggling. You just didn't know. You didn't see it. You were going through your own thing. Like, it wasn't personal. I don't even need to make up a story for it. It wasn't what I made it out to be in my mind. And so I feel like that epiphany not only gave me grace to other people, it allowed me the space to give myself grace and know that I don't always know the right thing to do. I don't always respond. A lot of times I still just react, and I'm working on it. I'm practicing, and when I'm healthy and everything's going right and I'm happy and I'm fueled up and I'm fed and I'm not hungry or hangry, and it's easy. It's easy to choose to respond. Well, I should say easier. You have this sense of peace within you. There's a calm. And when things are calm, it's easy to make decisions and choices that align with you. But when things get a little bit chaotic and you're in pain, and that can be physical pain, but it also can be an emotional pain. It could be a mental pain, a spiritual pain. If you're in pain because you're living a life that isn't yours, you're living a life that is accumulation of everyone else around you. That's who I was. Natasha, was empty. I was like a soulless being just walking around. I remember watching this one, oh my gosh, I can't think of it right now, the name of it, but a Pixar movie. And maybe it was a Disney one. I don't know, one of those. And the way in which they depicted these like YOLO OLO kind of people, that was kind of how I felt. It was just nothing. And I still felt something, right? I still felt for my kids and Chris and my friends and my community and flowers, and I still delighted in a lot of things, right? But there was no sense of me. There was no connection to who I was. I had abandoned myself so frequently, so often, and for so long. I was a stranger to me. All I knew was these default settings that were embedded in me that were meant to like help my survival, right? They were meant to help me feel good. So then when my dad came home drunk, I knew how to respond. Or react actually, or respond. I don't know what you want to call it. Or when, my mom wasn't there and said she would. All these things, like when the kids made fun of me in school, beat them to the punchline, like all the different things that I learned to protect myself or to protect those around me. When my brother got in trouble, I tried to because of his grades, I tried to tutor him. When my brother got in trouble because he left a mess, I said it was me. Because I didn't want to see him get in trouble. Because I didn't delight in that. That hurt me. I knew that kid was hurting so much already. I heard his tears at night as he longed for his mom, or as he longed for a dad that would be able to be present at all the times. But he was going through his own things, and it wasn't personal. That's what I understand now. It wasn't personal that my dad became an alcoholic. It wasn't because of us. And yeah, maybe having two young kids at 16 years old and having to be a single dad by the time you were 20. Maybe that, in a sense, in a way, is our fault that he became an alcoholic because we contributed to it. But I'm not taking blame. Again, that's my dad's choice. And I'm not saying that it's even not an understandable choice. I understand why you are this way. I understand why those things happened. It doesn't mean it didn't hurt. And it doesn't mean it didn't leave scars on myself or my brother. But he was in his default settings. He was doing what he needed to do in order to survive and protect himself. All he knew was an alcoholic father. That is what fathers were to him. And he didn't have the tools, the knowledge, the ability to break that cycle. And I'm so proud to sit here. I'm so proud. Because yeah, when I was younger, I drank all the time with my friends. I drank underage, and drinking for me sometimes was fun, but a lot of times it got me in bad situations. It got me in trouble. It hurt me, or I said or did things that hurt other people. And I didn't like that. And when I would drink, I would remember and I would think about my dad, or I would think about my mom, and I would think about the choices in which they made when they were under the influence. And I asked myself, do I want to be like this? Do I want to continue this cycle? Do I want to be like my grandfather, who passed away at 56, having multiple strokes and all these things? Do I want that? No, I don't. So what do we want to do then? We're going to change. Do I want my son to wake up and see his mom passed out in the bathroom by the toilet? Do I want my son to be like yelled at because on Saturday morning he wants to jump into my arms and watch Saturday morning cartoons and I've got a blaring headache because I'm hungover? No. This kid had fought to be alive. This kid had a purpose here. This kid had passed away and came back. I'm not going to have him come back and now be the son of an alcoholic. Not on my watch. So I changed. I changed the cycle. And maybe I haven't done everything right. Believe me, I haven't. There's so many things in my parenting that I don't regret, but I'm sorry happened. I can't take them back. I can take the feedback and make changes. And I can make changes along the way, and I won't be perfect right away. Sometimes it takes a lot of practice. But I will say this. I do get it right a lot of times. Like, I know in my heart, I'm a good mom. I know in my heart, I'm a good person. I know in my heart, I'm worthy to living my purpose. I don't need to be scared anymore. And I could blame myself for wanting to be scared. Like, I was scared of Chris, or scared of my dad, or I was scared of my friends, or I was scared of these things. I was scared of losing them. But actually, when I think about it, I was more scared to live. I had chosen to die a slow death on the inside in order to preserve this safety versus taking the risk of living. And yes, that means some people didn't understand. And some people in my life struggle to understand. But those who jump on board and see where I am and what I'm doing, or know me as the person I am today and love me for that, they understand and they accept me as much as I accept me. And I will only allow people in my circle that get that. And I will only allow people in my circle that I believe either are on their path, about to embark on the path, or long into their path of loving and honoring who they are. And I don't think it's always easy. And I do think there's times that we go back to the default settings and we feel this torment inside. We feel this uneasiness. And maybe it comes out with a lashing or sadness or just discomfort or snappiness. But when we have that time to reflect, that time to look back and analyze, well, why am I feeling this way? Like, look at yourself with a curiosity set of eyes. You will see, I feel this way because I really want to talk to this person. I'm about to take a trip and I'm scared that, my significant other is going to get mad and there's a little gnat here. Or, I want to tell my friend, I don't want to go to this event, but I'm afraid that, her feelings are going to be hurt. She had the courage to ask me to go and it would be fun, but I'm too busy. And so I think that the beauty of life is you don't have to be who you were even this morning. You get the power to choose each and every day. You get to choose to continue a cycle, like, the alcoholism gene in my family, or you get to choose every day, because it is a daily choice. While you may not think about it, you get to choose to not be, because it's always a part of you, right? Until that gene gets so diluted down the line, it's a part of me. And so while it's not something I have to think about every day, there was a time in my life in which I had to think about it every day, to drink, to not to drink. But now it's come so much a part of my life to not drink that, unless I'm on a vacation having a Bahama Mama, which is mostly sugar, or I am, out with a friend or something like this, on occasion with Chris, I choose not. I feel like I'm at a place in my life where most of the time I don't need the crutch of an alcoholic drink any longer. Before, I needed it as an excuse, the ability to have fun and be carefree and, in a sense, find peace and not worry about all the stress in life I was experiencing, or to use it to just decompress from a difficult day. And the beauty of this journey has been, I found other ways. And yes, maybe I've also found other vices, right? I mean, I'm very honest here. I love my sweets. I love my treats. Listen, these last 6 weeks, and even let's say the last 6 months, to be fair, I have indulged my heart away. Right now, I am still recovering from the surgery. Today was a difficult day. I don't know why. I mean, yesterday I rested most of the day, and then in the evening, I did, get a burst of energy. So I was like, I want to finish my steps. And I literally did the last 13 steps at 11:59 p.m. And so my evening kind of went long, and then I was hydrating so much I had to pee like every hour or two. So I had this broken sleep and I was kind of tired, but I did get out to like the farmer's market. Anyways, long story short, I was tired. But I'm also aware that right now, what I really needed, and I've been very clear on in these last 6 months, is a season of nurturing. And sometimes nurturing, like as a mom, we like to feed people, right? We like, come over, come manja, let's break bread together. And so part of my nurturing season right now is really feeding me. It's feeding me from the inside out. It's understanding there's balance, right? So I get to feed to my soul's content, but I also am going to have to walk to my content. And so while I may be at my 10,000 steps, and that's my goal, and that's a lot for right now, I understand that if I want to maintain a certain level of health that enabled me, like my doctor said, to be able to go into that surgery and survive the complications was because of my health, that's important to me, because I was able to get out of that mess and I was able to survive, and it was a real tough on me. So if I wasn't as healthy as I was, that story may have had a complete different ending. And so it's really important to me, because again, it's not if something else happens again in life. At 48, it's when. And when I come into that season again, which I hope is not for another, I don't know, let's say 60 years, I want to be in the best health I can, so that my army is strong inside, that my body is strong, so that I can come back and fight. Like I said, in part of my journey there in the hospital, I would lay there and I didn't have the energy to talk. Can you imagine this? I just stared. And it's not a place that I like to be in, but it is a place I needed to be in. And it reminds me that we get the choice to choose. And so while I'll choose to eat away and nurture away to my heart's content as my body is mending and healing, I do also know that there is a level of health I'd like to maintain. So I know that goes along with it is I get to maintain my workouts and my movement goals to balance things out. Is it always perfectly balanced? Probably not. I'm probably not living in a calorie deficit. Let's just say that. But I am happy. I am healthy and I am loved. My body does not feel neglected, deprived, or uncared for. And that's the most important thing, is to learn to nurture your body where it is. where you are in different seasons can mean different fluctuations, different things happen, but you always get the power to choose. So who you woke up as this morning is up to you how you go to sleep this evening. You can change anything you want, and you start very small. Just say no to the things you don't want to do and say yes to you. And it won't always be perfect. Let me just tell you, if you decide like, hey, I'm a smoker and I'm going to quit today, that doesn't mean tomorrow you're a non-smoker. It means you're a smoker who is trying to quit. If you are a compulsive eater, same goes for you. You can choose to change, and it's going to happen small over time, and it's not going to be a perfect journey. It's going to be like this. So just buckle up. Be ready for it. No, there's times that we fall down, but you get back up again. That's the beauty of life. That is the gift. That is the magic. It is to know that you can get back up and you can change anything, any scenario in your life. And I know so many times it feels like there's no other options. But if you really looked, there are. So I say all of this to say thank you. Thank you for sharing this last 20 minutes of your beautiful life with me. Thank you so much for tuning in and tuning into yourself. That is the most important thing here. And this isn't a narcissist channel. There's a difference between being you and embracing who you are and people pleasing and doing all those things. And so people can call you or say whatever they want to say. You know you. You know where your heart is. You know what your intents are. And don't let anyone tell you that taking care of yourself is wrong, selfish, or not deserved. Because you do deserve it. You are worthy. So thank you for tuning in today. And I would love to say this to you today. Please, please, please go out there. Give yourself a big smile. That means, yes, I'm talking, look in that reflection. I'm saying pull down the rearview mirror or advisor, look in the rearview mirror, look at your reflection. Snap that phone around. Give yourself a big smile. Then I would love, love, love for you to give yourself a compliment. Today, my compliment is simple. I like your smile. I love when you smile. You get little dimples and you get little rosy cheeks and you look like you're glowing from literally the inside out. And I would love for you to also share that joy with the world and find somebody else to give a big smile to, give them a compliment. And like I say, it doesn't have to be limited to in person. You can FaceTime, text, send an emoji, send a gift, something. You can share a smile in a creative way if you're not with somebody in person and give them a compliment. The more you compliment yourself on the outside, out loud, and the more you compliment others, you're reprogramming your brain. You're reprogramming your brain to seek and look for the good in you and others. And that alone will change your life exponentially. So thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.